April 22nd. First item is public comment. The board takes public comment on all items in the regular agenda. Public input on a regular agenda item will be taken at its appropriate discussion. Public input on an item on the agenda or consent agenda may be identified and requested for consideration by the board at this time. The board may request an item to be placed on a future agenda or for a consent agenda item to be moved to the regular agenda for public comment. So we have on the consent the consideration of approving the January 27, 2022 meeting
Go back
minutes.
to public comment. Hold on, I'm gonna do public
comment.
My apologies. I probably should have stopped you, but I do want to mention during public comment. Of course, this is the last meeting that we'll have with Mr. Steve Kallenbach. Mr. Steve Kallenbach is actually retiring at the end of this month. He's finally made it. He's excited.
Come to the festival, though. Come to the festival and be our guest.
You know, I've been knowing Steve for years, of course, since probably about 2008 when I was doing my own bashes. But then to be able to come online and be able to work with Steve and be able to do everything, he was my guide. I didn't have no clues on how things were operating and stuff. And of course, Steve was the man that I depended on to teach me about the Convention Center, Coliseum, River Stage, Paseos, Pecan Creek. He knows all the in and outs of all the buildings that we have and stuff. So of course he'll dearly be missed, but he knows that we're going to be calling him and still checking on him and making sure, hey Steve, what do we do in this instance and stuff. He's like I said, he's really going to be missed. I definitely want to give him a chance to speak up here to you all and stuff too as well. So, Mr. Kallenbach.
Good morning, y'all. Hey, I've really had a good time. And this board here, the one we're looking at, has been really good. So I appreciate Steve. I appreciate Billy. I just appreciate all you guys have done. And thank you, Karen. You guys have really been great. And I hope that I have done all the things that you've expected. No, I'm trying to call everybody by name. Sorry. And you're brand new, and welcome to the board. And so I just, like I say, I hope that I've done everything that you've needed me to do and that I've been able to answer questions whenever you've had them. And so I know that you guys are going to continue on and do a great job. And I know Sid and the team here will still do a great job. And I'm really going to miss everyone, I'll tell you. So it's kind of a bittersweet thing because I really want to retire, but I really am going to miss this really bad. So I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Well, Steve, we're gonna miss you, my friend, because I know I've been on the board for a few years now, and you've always answered all the questions. You always seem to be on top of everything. You've been, your hands in everything that we've done, and every time I go somewhere, you're doing something, you're painting something, and you're sorely gonna be missed. I promise you, man. I appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you for the kind words.
I'll echo that as well. And I've known Steve when I worked here and then now up here, and so wealth of knowledge, great guy. And Billy's right. Anything that was asked of you, you did it. No questions asked. Every time we had questions for you, you were greatly honest with us. So we do appreciate that and respect that, even though it may not have been, great news to us, but you brought it to us and brought solutions as well. So appreciate you.
And thanks for the kind words.
You'll be missed.
And Steve, thanks for everything you've ever done. Every time we've had an event, an activity, and we've asked you to go above and beyond, you've always answered the bell. So thank you so much.
I've not worked with you as much as these guys, but we've worked together, and I've enjoyed
Quite
it.
a long time, yes. Yeah. Well, it's been good, and I know that you have asked for things, and I know you're going to continue to ask because when you're the customer at events, that's what is expected. And I hope that everything, and I'm sure with Sid, everything's going to continue on just that way. It's important when the customer's here that they leave satisfied. And that has been my goal for the last 30 years. So I'm hoping that you've appreciated it, and I know you have. And I'm sure Sid's going to just continue right on with it. So
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
He'll be back part-time, trust me.
A consultant.
All right.
With that, we'll go ahead and move to that consent agenda. Sorry for getting there quicker than we should have, but consideration of approving the January 27, 2022 meeting minutes. Has everyone looked at the minutes?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion. We have a second?
A second.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Passes. We'll move on to regular agenda, the presentation of the monthly financial report and event calendar.
Okay, so, of course, if you look in your packets, and I'm going to lead y'all through it. So if you look in your packets, there'll be a Civic Events Fund 410. That's our fund balance for our area, for our department. If you look at the bottom, the ending fund balance for us, and this fund balance is as of March 31st. Fund 410, we have $1,005,082. And then in restricted for facility use fee, we have currently $254,767. The restricted for facility use fee is the cost that's on top of a ticket. So if we have an event that's going on, there's a facility fee that's on top of it of $2 that the city charges for any event that's charging over $5 or $10. We charge the $2 on top is $10. So that amount accrues, and we'll be able to use the facility use fee for any type of projects that we need, and we'll be able to discuss those coming up. And then for the monthly calendar, if you go to that, March bookings, we did have a total of 49 bookings at all of our venues. The convention center had 15, with 9 of them being COSA, 3 at the Coliseum, 1 at the River Stage. We didn't have any at the Paseo, 9 at Pecan Creek, 17 for East Mezzanine, none at Farmers Market, and then 4 at the Indoor Arena. In April, we had a total of 45 bookings. Convention Center had 12, Coliseum had 1, River Stage 3, El Paseo is 5, Pecan Creek has 5, East Mez is 19, and Indoor Arena and Farmers Market has 0 events. And next month in May, we have a total of 56 bookings, 13 at the Convention Center, 8 at the Coliseum, 5 at the River Stage, 3 at Paseo, 5 at Pecan Creek, 13 at East Mez, 0 Indoor Arena, and Farmers Market actually will be starting, so we'll have 9 bookings for Farmers Market. Any questions on the event calendar?
How did Ice Cube do?
Financials. Yes, sir.
Good turnout, good concert for us.
Which one?
Ice Cube.
I don't even remember it.
You
No, I'm
weren't
just
there, were you?
kidding. It was great.
Hey, I
Great.
saw you backstage, okay?
It
You was having a good time.
Great event. Glad to see it happen. Big news, you know. That was probably one of the biggest announcements that we made. I mean, had my cousin stays in Houston, was like, you know, you're on like Houston, not Houston, on Yahoo, and it had announced that Ice Cube is going to be performing in San Angelo, Texas. And I'm like, this made Yahoo News that he's going to be in San Angelo. So just to see us on there, and I don't know, it was a great feeling. But we have a lot of, that opened up the doors for a lot of other concerts and events. This promoter was brand new to the area, had never been to San Angelo, Texas. The first time I met him was at 4 o'clock the day of the concert. You know, doors were already supposed to be open, but by the time he got there, I mean, everything was good. But, you know, those types of relationships I value a lot, because those are the people that will come back around and come back to your area whenever they do have something good that's, you know, they're trying to move around for a tour. So after the event, before the event, the guy was so confused about San Angelo. He was, why is ticket sales taking so, why is it so slow, and this isn't how it normally goes, and he's from Los Angeles, so of course they move at a different pace. And I'm like, hey man, you're in San Angelo, Texas. It's like, did you look at where you booked this? So after the event, you know, it's always great to hear from those promoters, and they'll say, you know, we enjoyed ourselves in San Angelo. I mean, it's one of the most unique, diverse people that are in that area. He was like, there was all types of people at that concert that he just never had seen before at an Ice Cube concert. So he enjoyed himself and said, hey, I'm gonna bring you another event, you know, next year. So I'm looking forward to working with him and several other promoters and stuff. We have some events that are coming up. We've just announced in July, we have an announcement tomorrow for a concert for Parker McCullum at the River Stage. We have Turnpike Troubadours at the River Stage, Whiskey Myers. These are 3 of the top Texas country acts coming within 3 or 4 weeks to our river stage, and you don't see that in markets of this size and stuff. So very grateful that these guys are coming back, and these promoters are tuning in to little old San Angelo.
And I want to thank you, Sid, because I don't know if anybody knows. I kind of went to the river stage before the performance, and just to see how things were going along. And Sid is handling so many different things, and unfortunately, that particular day he had gotten some bad news, but he still acted like a professional and got the job done. So I want to commend Sid for everything he went through to get that concert together, and hopefully we can do some more.
Billy almost got removed from his seat at the concert. He did get removed from his seat.
I really did get removed from it. Sir, we're going to have to speak to you, sir.
But all was great, and he went back to the seat.
Everything worked out.
I do have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Pre-COVID, we have 56 bookings for May. How does that compare with that era? The pre-COVID
We're
era?
actually getting, so with 56 bookings in May, we're actually getting back on track to where we were pre-COVID and stuff. So we're right back on schedule and stuff. That was one of the things that I was looking at. And, things are starting to open up. It's springtime going into summer for us. So you'll start seeing those bookings increase for us. I'm excited about that because it's showing on our budget.
You guys do a great job on these events, and we had an email exchange.
Yes.
Councilman Harry as well, Thomas, and just the economic impact that these concerts bring and these events bring. Not only the sales tax money, but also the hotel occupancy tax money, right? So you guys receive the hot money, and you're putting right back into that account, into that fund by bringing all these events in. So you guys do a great job, and commend that. You guys are doing your part.
And just to point out, too, as well, if you go back to your fund balance 410, you look at the river stage for the revenues and stuff, that was that concert alone basically put us pretty much at budget. We're at 93% of our revenue now, with the season still hasn't really kicked in for us for the river stage and stuff. So, that should show, like, hey, we're working over here. We're working. And we're starting to hear from others saying, hey, the river stage may be a little bit too small stage-wise, and, to where entertainment is heading and stuff now. With the bands, and bands they need more space and stuff, so. But I love to hear these things from these people because they've been to venues all over, and we have to make things work. Unfortunately, we have 2 dressing rooms. We had to make a 3rd dressing room, but it worked for us and stuff, so. We try to appease whatever comes to the area and stuff. Parker McCullum has some people that are coming down here before the concert just to make sure, hey, things are okay for us and, for him too as well. So.
Oh, and just for the record, I wasn't acting rowdy. Somebody showed up with a fake ticket trying to sit in my seat. That's why we had to get it straightened out. In case y'all were
Everybody was wondering.
I had a receipt.
Just for clarification, so you look at the fund balance. Is it still a policy or requirement that you keep 90 days worth of fund balance?
Yes, okay. We still do.
Okay. So when you do look at that number, it's great, but keep in mind we do have to hold back 90 days.
Hold back around, I'm gonna say approximately is about 300,000 that needs to be held back.
300, right? Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Calendar, finances? Nope. Next item is election of chair and vice chair for the Civic Events Advisory Board.
All right, so elections for officers, of course, this is actually in our, right here. So for the election for officers, I'm gonna just go through this right fast. Designation of officers, the board shall have a chair and vice chair. The civic events manager or designee shall perform the duties of secretary, but will not be a voting member of any committee or the board. So with the election at the beginning, we're supposed to do this at the beginning of the regular meeting each January. The vice chair shall ascend to the position of board chair, and the board chair shall elect a new vice chair. The board's nominating committee will make nominations for vice chair. Election shall be determined by a majority vote of the members present. For the terms, the chair and vice chair shall serve a term of 1 year in each office. Terms will begin and end when officers are seated and elected at the end of the previous officer's 12th month in office. Consecutive terms. Having served 2 consecutive terms in office, a member shall not be eligible for re-election to an office for 1 year after completion of the 2nd consecutive term. Currently, Chairman, the chair shall preside over all meetings of the board and shall be responsible for accomplishing all directives, duties, and responsibilities imposed on the board by the city council. The chair shall appoint members of all committees as he/she deems necessary and shall designate the chairman of all committees. The chair shall sign official documents on the board's behalf. The vice chairman, in the absence, disability, or disqualification of the chair, the vice chair shall perform the duties and exercises the powers of the chair. The vice chair shall also perform other duties prescribed by the board. Currently, our current chairman is Steve Mahaffey, and our current vice chair is Karen Abbott. So Ms. Karen Abbott will move up to the chairman, and we'll need to make a vote for vice chairman.
So Karen, welcome to the hot seat. We can shift, I guess, now, or we can shift after this meeting for the next
We can shift after
Okay.
do the vote on that one.
So that will open it up for nominations for the vice chair. Do we have any?
Billy, you're it.
We're doing it by tenure on the board? Are we doing it by tenure on the board?
I don't know. That's up to you guys.
Then I'll nominate Dell for vice president. Because y'all can't, right?
Sounds good.
Can y'all serve?
We got one for Dale. Second. So we have a motion. We have a second. Dale Velasquez for vice chairman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 6-0 or 5-0. Can you vote for yourself? 5-0. So that passes. So Karen, welcome. Dale, welcome. The question I would have with that, as well as when do you determine committees? Does the new incoming chair determine that? Okay, so that'll be a next meeting,
Next
possibly?
meeting, we'll do that.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to the next item, discussion of Foster Communications Coliseum Boiler and recommending any related matters.
Okay, so some of you may not know, Foster Communications Coliseum Boiler. The boiler tubes became non-functional in February for us for the Coliseum. The boiler does supply the heat for the Foster Communications Coliseum and for the Spur Arena. The city does, of course, own the property for the Spur Arena, but the rodeo, Stock Show and Rodeo is the ones that manage the property. So it does supply the heat for both areas. And the boilers that we had were added in 1999 when the Spur Arena was built. And the estimated cost approximately is $150,000. Here's a picture of the boilers. They're actually tucked off to the west side of the Coliseum. See, I won't have this no more.
You're in trouble, buddy.
I'll just call them. All right, so for the process for us to be able to get a new boiler put in at the Coliseum, currently right now we're working with facility maintenance, and they're working with an engineer on the scope of the work. Once the scope has been complete, we'll be open to take bids from general contractors that want to try to bid on the job. Once the bids have been closed, facility maintenance will work with the Civic Events on a committee to review the bids and select a contractor that we see fit for the job. And once the contractor shall be selected by the end of June, and we will be presenting that to City Council for their vote. And then we're looking at it being installed within 4 to 6 weeks following City Council's decision. So the proposed budget plan for it, of course, like I said, it's going to be approximately around $150,000. That's what the estimated cost is. So we're looking at using Fund 605 for funding. I apologize, of course, 605 isn't in y'all's packets, but 605 is the big pie for the hotel occupancy tax that comes in. We only get a certain dollar amount, for that. So we're looking at, since it is a hot item, looking at possibly taking it out of Fund 605 for funding. Their current balance right now is a little bit over $1 million, $1,100,000. And if we were not able to take from Fund 605, then obviously we would have to take from our own fund balance 410, and our current balance is, like I mentioned earlier, $1 million.
I think I asked this last time if Rodeo Association was going to co-op any part of the cost or not.
Yeah, I've talked with Justin. They just need to know they are obligated by the agreement to share half the cost for the maintenance of the shared HVAC.
So the balance.
He said just to let them know what they need to do.
So the balance that we're showing, they're picking up, is that half of it, or?
We will probably pay the total
They'll
amount at
reimburse
first,
us.
and then they'll reimburse us.
Okay.
To do the second boiler?
Since we do have 2 boilers that's over there, there's a possibility that we're looking at just going ahead and replacing the other boiler that's actually running for us right now, because it's only a matter of time before that one goes out, since it was put as well in 1999. So we're waiting, like I said, on the scopes of work, and we are going to propose either replacing one boiler or both boilers just to get them both out the way.
Well, I'm going to ask a question of Steve while I still got him, okay? Can we not repair one and then part out the other one? Save money?
The problem with that is because there's 2, they're backups to each other. So if you only are running with one out there and it's the middle of the winter, you're done. So there's no backup, there's nothing to do. So you have to have 2 in there, just like we have to have 2 chillers for all the cooling and everything. If you end up with just one and it goes out, then everything's done. So that's why. So the other one, the one that's in there, of course, the pipe's inside of the one that's busted, and so it was like a blast furnace in there. It was a mess. So the other one, like I say, when they did the inspection, they did do recommendations that, hey, this is not going to last forever, of course. So they're both so old. I think one of the proposals, if I can mention this, one of the proposals was to put 2 smaller ones in the place of that one. And so you would have 2, but I'm not sure that the engineers have to figure out if one of those are enough to warm the buildings, because there's a lot of times during the winter that they're using the spur and we're using the Coliseum. And so all of that heat has to be dispersed between the 2. So I know the engineers are working on that, so I don't know exactly what they're going to come up with. But they do, maintenance is working, like you said, with an engineer. So they're going to come up with the best proposal. And so it's all right for us to ask questions, but we don't know because we're not engineers, of course. But they'll come up with probably the best thing that can be done in that situation. So
Just to ask, and there's been discussions, I'm sure you guys have seen it in the news, been discussions of renovating the Coliseum. So I think that needs to be taken into account before we go spend money. Could that be thrown into the project? You're talking about potentially smaller units. If that building grows, you're going to need a bigger unit.
Well, I was going to bring that up on the next agenda item. But you're right. If you got to start planning for the future, if that's going to actually go through, we might as well go big.
I think you're smart looking at 2 units, replacing them both. You're probably going to have cost savings with those folks already in there installing one. They're already there. Go ahead and purchase the second one, and it's smart. It's planning smart. So, and I would recommend Plan A for sure.
All right, next item.
So I'll second that.
So do you need anything from us to send?
Just a recommendation of what you all are, that's it.
Does anyone have any concerns or thoughts with that?
Recommendation A and both is what I would recommend.
You guys good with that? Okay.
I mean, you dealt with
And I'm
this thing
sure
on a
I'll
smaller
probably be
scale.
coming-
You don't want to get an emergency and not have it.
Sure.
And normally, I've been a part of one bid process with the committee and stuff. Normally, we do have somebody, I believe, from our board that will be a part of the bid committee and stuff too as well. I do remember when that review the bids. Because I remember when I did the marquee, I can't think of her name, but she sat on our board and she was a part of it.
Good. I mean, this is maintenance equipment, so it's
Yeah.
Procurement.
the bids in, and we'll see if there's any need for some outside input. Then sure.
But I will be coming back to bring that to you all too as well. So whenever we move a little bit further on it.
Sounds great. Thank you. So the next item, discussion of Civic events facility improvements and recommending any related matters.
All right, so we'll start with here for the convention center. If you all didn't know, of course, we need a new sewer line here at the convention center. Obviously, I'm hoping that we're not running through any. We've had situations today, of course, with our sewer line. Again, it's always whenever we have major events that's here, and plenty of people are using the restrooms, and we've been having this issue for some time now. So I'm looking to be able to get a new sewer line placed in the main ballroom, and also replacing the carpet in the hallways, since they will also have to go out in the hallways too as well. The estimated cost approximately is $300,000. For the new sewer line, this is for total, for everything. For the new sewer line, for the tile in the main ballroom, that will have to be put back down in the carpet too as well in the hallways. So my proposed budget plan for this is actually using our own fund, Fund 410, and using the restricted for facility use fees for funding. The current balance that we do have approximately right now is $254,787. By the time we have another meeting, that amount will be probably $100,000 more. So it'll be around the $350,000 area. So we would have enough funding. We would exhaust all of the money that we do have in our restricted for facility use funds, but facility use fees, but the project would get done. If the project does exceed a certain amount that we do not have in our restricted for facility use fees, then the rest of it would probably have to come from our Fund 410 balance, which the current balance is $1 million. Anybody want to discuss about the sewer line? Any things that we need to talk about on it? Or we're looking to present that to City Council in the June-July timeframe. And currently, we did at the Convention Center calendar, we did clear it from November 6th to January 21st, just to give us already time allotted for doing this job. It will take approximately 2.5 months to get the job completed, but this is something that we definitely need to take care of. This is during our slowest time with the convention center too as well. And we already moved some of our customers around. Either they're going to go to the Coliseum and still have their event, or they're just going to choose another date moving forward, or we have refunded 2 of them as well. But it's no way around this. We have to tackle this one as our facility improvement project for this upcoming fiscal year.
If it's not working, you can't rent it, and you can't make revenue off of it, so it's got to be done.
You know, just like for an event like this, I mean, toilets are backing up and stuff, and it's embarrassing at times, you know. So I'm just hoping that we can correct this issue as soon as possible. We thought that we fixed it years back, and it was just a Band-Aid to it at the time. So now it's really time for us to really just dig in there, just take the whole sewer line out, replace it with another one, and redo the tile that's in there as well in the main room, and figure out if we're going to be putting tile or carpet in the hallways too as well. But the same process that we're doing for the boiler will actually be the same process that we'll have to do for this too as well. Scope of work from the engineer, move forward and get bids as well. But this is one of our capital improvement items too as well. So we'll be knocking something off of our list.
And we will need to maybe enlist to help us an interior decorator to figure out whether we do tile or carpet in the lobby, and what kind of tile would go in with the main room. Just the aesthetics of it.
I think Steve's going into tile and carpeting after this, so.
No, this is certainly something that has to be done. Of course, kind of from a money standpoint, you know, we're driving 410 down possibly under $1 million. I don't know if we can take any funds out of 604 to 605, I'm sorry, to use for this. Maybe we can get some from there and some from 410 so that we can kind of keep our balance steady.
Also keep the events coming in so we can use more restricted
But we
use
definitely, it
facilities.
definitely has to get done, though.
It has
Definitely has
to
to
get
get done.
yes.
It's just where to get the money from.
You're projecting that restricted facility use will exceed that 300?
We received another check, so
Okay.
we'll be there.
Just to clarify, I mean, you can't use that money for anything else, so it makes sense to go ahead and utilize that first before you touch fund balance, so that's smart. I agree with everyone else. I think it needs to be done. You need anything from us on that one?
Recommendation as well. But again, this is something that will come back again to the board. This is just letting y'all, just getting you all aware of where we're headed right now and stuff. So this is going to go through council. We're about to enter the budget season. Well, we're already in budget season. I'll be, getting with city staff to discuss this, and also, if you can, talk to your council members and letting them know, sewer line at the convention center is a big item for us. Go ahead and mention those things to them so we can get the process going.
That is in the CIP.
Because I would hate to do all this and clear the calendars for November 6th through January 21st and not hit that, and just have some open dates.
This is already in the CIP plan.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Technically, council should have seen it already, right? Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Recommend it gets done.
Recommend, move forward. So one of the last items, consideration of future agenda items. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to see on the next agenda?
Are we still on number 5? Civic events, facility improvements, and recommending?
Do you have anything else?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
if you don't mind. So I was really excited to see the Rodeo Association's plans for the Coliseum. I think that's something that, I don't know if that'll get off the ground. Hope it does. I think everybody's in agreement that we probably need a new Coliseum to bring some bigger shows, do more with the rodeo, things like that. So can you tell us anything about that? Did they come to you, or is that something that they're kind of spearheading?
I'm all for it. That's something that the Stock Show and Rodeo is spearheading. But I am in agreement that we do need to update our Coliseum or revamp the Coliseum or tear down the Coliseum and build up another Coliseum. I'm for, it will help. It will help with bringing in a few other events and stuff. I know that the rodeo is really, really heavy about it, but that's all I can really say. So I'm for it. I'm hoping that the process is, starts coming together for it, and I'll be there. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Sydney.
Said, I saw an email where they brought up the governor's task force on concert safety. Is that something we need to be?
Yes, it's definitely, I'll probably bring that to you all at the next meeting and stuff, some of the things that the governor has mentioned for concert safety moving forward. It definitely is an item that was brought up due to the concert that happened in Houston, Texas a year ago. So they did make some changes on how concerts and festivals should move forward. So it is a good discussion item that we can all have too as well.
We'll put that on the next
Put that on the next agenda. So we'll put that on the next agenda as well as the committees.
We did talk about different committees in the past. COVID kind of killed all that. Are we still looking at a committee to increase ticket prices, et cetera? Is
Yes,
that what
for
we're
fee
talking
schedules.
about?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We'll do the committees for all of those. It'll be for the policy committee, fee schedules, and board.
Committees?
Are you gonna do like
Policies,
facility
fees.
improvements like River Stage and the sale and things like
Improvements,
that?
policies, fees, improvements.
Let me ask another question. Has there been any, I know we discussed it a while back, about improvements at the Paseo and some, I know the we'd requested some architectural renderings for what that potentially looks like. Is that still on the drawing board, or?
So we did do a walk around with Torres, Mr.
So
Torres, the
I
engineer.
ran into Al
and-
Torres
yes.
the other day and asked him about it. He said that it is on his list of things to do. I'm not
Exactly.
sure how high up the list, but it is on his list.
Yes, so he should have for the convention center. We did a walk around with him for the convention center, for the river stage, as well as the Paseo. So he has a lot of projects going on throughout the city, and like you said, it's on his list, but it's when he will get there.
I mean, it's just my personal opinion that the Paseo's a diamond in the rough. We could really utilize it more if we did a few changes to it.
I agree.
Anybody else have any other comments, questions, concerns? Take a motion
No.
to adjourn? Go ahead, sorry.
The only other thing that we could do is basically hire an architect or on the outside instead, if we wanted to get the process done a little bit faster.
Yeah, you'd have to hire somebody.
Okay. So who can look at the cost of doing something like that?
City staff. So we'll be able to look into it, but we have to do the same thing for the scope of work for here and stuff too as well. So just a line of other things that we have to do too. So, but we'll get it done. We'll get it there.
Well, I don't draw too good, but I'll show you something I'd like to see happen.
Be one of Steve's last tasks on his way out tomorrow, maybe.
That's it.
Parting gift for us.
He's already messaging me. Don't put me on that project.
All right, with that, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You're adjourned.